that's kind of hot.
All right, we're back. Let's see how long this lasts. Man, so, all right, let me get this set up here. I'm going to have the chat off for a moment until I can get this all rocking and rolling. Good to see you guys. Sketch Neighbor, Fong, Timothy, what's up, guys? Good to see you again. And I think it's been a couple days since the last stream failure, and let's try to just jump back on this same drawing. It was so hard not to play with this drawing beforehand. Oh man, so it's kind of cold now, the drawing. After a while it kind of like you lose momentum on it and stuff. So but let's just go right into it. Let me try to get it lined up real good. And I don't know what's going on with my setup. It's sort of like pieced together with duct tape. The OBS and the different cameras and stuff I'm using, the Blackmagic board and all that. So I don't know. I'm sure it's operator error more than technology. So I don't know. It's just frustrating, and it was giving me a problem today. It took about 20 minutes just to get both of these cameras to sync up with OBS, the program that I'm using to do live stream. And I'm kind of over it. I'm kind of tired of it. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. Almost like every time I stream, I'm wondering if it's going to crash or whatever. It seems like something has to happen. It's either like the Wi-Fi here. I was doing Wi-Fi for a while, but now I'm on the Ethernet cable. And then one time the cable failed because my little puppy chewed the end of it, and I didn't notice it before I plugged it in. That was crazy. That took me like 2 hours to figure out. I was doing all kinds of troubleshooting, trying to figure that out, and it turned out it was just a little puppy chewed on it. So that was frustrating as heck. And so let's just work on this drawing from stones. It's a lot of fun, and it's really good practice because you can see the shadows really well and stuff like that. So I'm just going to come in here and try to finish up the lay-in phase, which we had started before and got interrupted. So I started off with the thirds of the face, pretty much like I always do with the Loomis method. I find that to be a really good place to start if you haven't drawn before, or you really want to get into it a little bit more deeper. And yeah, so I would start with the thirds of the face, start with the Loomis method. There's a lot of books with the Loomis method. Drawing the head and hands is a good place to start. And then learning that basic structure of the head, especially the thirds of the face, and that really get you going really a lot quicker, figuring out a method, going by a tried and true method like that. So now I'm gonna bring this chin out much further. I have it tucked under too much, and this is, I guess you would call this like, this likeness of this person is pretty extreme in the proportions of the face. The jaw is quite large and in front, and the nose is curled over. The upper lip is kind of really thin and anemic in a way. So there are a lot of things happening over here, so we gotta take our time. The cool thing is that it's pretty much a profile mostly, and profiles are really fun because you can get a likeness generally a little bit easier, I think. And yeah, so we'll see. So this nose is also quite outside the norm. It's very large, and you can even push that a little bit too if you want. Kind of have fun with that. Let's see, so I'm just going to come down here. I'm looking, I don't really jump ahead normally on the shadow mapping, but I think it's going to help me to find the placement of the upper lip in relationship to the bottom lip a little bit better. There's this nice cast shadow right underneath the nose. It's like a little sliver of a shadow, and it comes around, wraps around the upper lip, and it's kind of cool. And then a little bit more of a cast shadow right here, coming kind of cascading down the upper lip, which really shows the form. So that's why any portrait you can get, like a reference that has strong lighting and really strong shadows, it's a really good practice to really concentrate on the facial forms, because you can see them really well because you have the core shadows, you have the form shadows, you have the cast shadows to kind of guide you along and identify those different shapes in the face. And then it kind of sets you up really nicely for doing maybe like a north light portrait where it's really soft and the forms are really subtle. And if you already have that practice and understanding of the facial landscape, the anatomy and the attachments of the muscles and stuff, it just makes your life a lot easier. There's a little pocket of a cast shadow underneath the bottom lip. And his chin kind of comes up. And then that column of the mouth, which is really important. I didn't even know that existed until I was in art school and I'm learning the structure of the face. It's funny how like that just, I might have drawn the midtones and stuff like that, but I never knew I had a name, so then I was kind of blind to it, other than like trying to like guess like a certain shape here and there. So it wasn't really known. So once you know it exists, then you can kind of see it better. You can look for it. So like this whole area, this rhythm that you see in the Reilly rhythm, doesn't really match up perfectly, but it gets you in the gets you to understand the structure a little bit, and then you can see these midtones a little bit better. So right here it matches, and you can see how then it connects to what's called the marionette line, which comes down and then down into this kind of like this little fat pad right here, and to the ligament, the mandibular cutaneous. And then we come up here to that mid-cheek furrow rhythm. And let me place the eyes. I need to go up quite a bit higher. Let's see, I'm looking for the placement of the eye in relationship to the ear. So I had it really low, so I'm going to bring the eyes up. So this rhythm comes to the kind of like the malar mound, or actually I think it's called festooning. It's like the bags of the eye. So I'm going to do the overall shape of the eye socket. Get that overall rhythm first. And then the bottom portion of the eye. And we look for the top in relationship to that ear. It's pretty much straight across. Sometimes it helps to draw in the actual eyeball rhythm. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me just erase this so it doesn't get too confusing. Draw that nice eyeball shape. I really like this period of the Roman sculptures because they're so unique. Like each one's different, the portraits. And they're based on, they look very technical and very realistic. And it's like they're not trying to, it looks like they're not trying to be like they're following a style per se, but they're trying to get an accurate representation of the person. And it's in itself, that's such a cool style. It's really interesting. Instead of trying to make this Roman man that's probably, I don't know the background on him, but he's probably up there in the politics. And instead of trying to make him look really, really good, they focused on the wrinkles of his face, all the details, and it's really amazing. So we got that kind of crow's feet coming over to the rhythm of the upper eyelid and wrapping around that sphere of the eye. Okay, I'll come back to the eye and do a little bit more. Let me erase that initial line that I did for the sphere of the eye. I was trying to show that, but I don't want it to get to make it look too complicated. I just wanted to, usually I track my hand to do the sphere and then hit the areas that I really need it. Same thing with like the Reilly rhythms. When you're talking about like the muzzle lines and stuff, a lot of times after a while, after you get it down into your memory, you don't even need to draw it out per se. Your hand will just track over that area and find that rhythm and then make the marks that you do need. But at first it's good to practice that memory of the rhythms. Okay, that's a decent placement. There's all kinds of cool rhythms in his face. So we got the tear trough groove that comes off, and then we go into that mid-cheek furrow. And it kind of comes down and meets up with some other wrinkles. And there's falling into this, there's this triangle area right about here. And as we get older, the fat pads pretty much shrink. You start to have a hollowing in the cheekbones right here. So on him, you can really see that zygomatic bone really well. And it's really, really kind of interesting to see that. Let's bring this kind of notch right down here. I'm just going to sketch in those midtones a little bit. Breaking angles versus rhythms. Let's see. So you can see that zygomatic bone, zygomatic arch. This is the zygomatic bone right here, and it's connecting to the temporal side. It connects to the frontal bone and then to the maxilla. So it's like 3 different sections. It holds the face together, and then you have one on each side. So it's like this interlocking 3-dimensional puzzle dome. That's the head, because you have the frontal bone, you have the side plane, which is the temporal, then you have the parietal in the back, then you have the maxilla, and you have the zygomatic holding all those together. It's really cool. Let's see. So we have this. Let's check the angle from tip of the nose to the chin. Pretty close. I'm not sure what I'm going to do on the next stream. This one, I just wanted to get this guy mapped out, and I was thinking about the other one of the same sculpture, but a different pose. But I'm not sure. I kind of lost the the excitement of doing it. It's kind of funny, like if you want to do a drawing and you're all excited about it, and then something happens where you can't get to it for a while, and you sort of lose that inspiration, or I guess it's like, I don't know, for me, I kind of get like a vision, an idea of like what I want to do, or part of it I can't wait to get to and see if I can draw it. And then if some time goes by before I get to it, and it's sort of, that feeling disappears, and I'm just like, I'll just do something else now. So I don't know. We'll see. There's so many Roman sculptures that we can work from too, so it's amazing. kind of makes me think though, like, why am I drawing? I should be learning sculpture and learning how to sculpt in stone, because it seems like that's what really lasts throughout the ages. Like, the Roman sculptures have lasted beyond, different societies, completely just surviving all of it. So it's like, you don't do bronze because they'll melt it down at some point to make cannonballs or some sort of weapons or whatever. It becomes a precious metal over time, or whatever happens in society. Paper just rots away so fast. Painting, same thing. It won't last that long compared to stones. But the stones, man, that takes a long time for Mother Nature to recycle, I guess. So it looks like stones is like our best bet. So, but how do you even get into that? I don't even know what their process is. I wonder if they, like for this one, maybe they did a clay sculpture first, and then it seemed like that would be the easier one to do, like a clay sculpture, and then you take measurements with like pins or something, and then you drive those into the stone and chip away until you get down to that level. I have no idea. But whatever they did, it was pretty awesome. Let's see, let's come down here. I'm just going to map in some of these shadows. Let me measure the thickness of the neck. So I'm using a lot of, always talk about comparative measuring, where I take one area, take a measurement with my pencil from the tip to maybe like my finger or thumb, and then I compare it to another area of the face and see where we are. So I'm comparing one measurement to another. So like the thickness of the neck, I'm going to compare that to the length of the face. And it gives me an idea. It's not super exact, but it gives me a rough idea. It's kind of like in math, where you're like, they used to teach us to quickly like ballpark math equations, or I think it was in dealing with like cost of things, and it's more of like just trying to get in the ballpark so you can get within a few cents, right? And then quickly, like within just thinking about it, like visually almost, and then you can assess if it's worth it or not. I don't remember exactly how it worked, but it was just like, it's like a quick ballpark, and then you can fine tune it basically with real math. It's kind of like the same thing, I think, here. Comparative measuring. At least the way I'm doing it, like really fast. I'm trying to do like a pretty quick demo, just having fun. And this cash out right here, I'm gonna make it curve a little bit more as it goes over that big neck muscle, the sternocleidomastoid. It's like a giant round cylinder, kind of stretched out. It's a little flat, but I'm gonna kind of make it curve over a little bit, and then it's gonna come down over these scalene muscles, and then a little bit into the trapezius on the back. I think that might look kind of cool. I'm gonna bring his jaw down a little bit more, give him a stronger jaw. So you got like three different things going on in the jawline. Basically, you have the actual jawline, a very strong plane change between the mandible and then onto the neck. That's this one right here. And then you have a form shadow, or you can call it a core shadow. So you have that's the division between the light side and the shadow side. And then, because you have a form shadow, you're going to have this cast shadow down here, and that's onto the neck. So then you get these kind of like these three lines. This one's really soft. This is the softest line. The cast shadow is going to be the crisp and most firm and hard edge line. And then this one's going to be kind of like in between, and you can even have this one lost or found, depends. Like you might have a certain area of it kind of like drops off into the shadow. So if you fill this in with our single kind of like mass or value, and then you can decide by squinting down or just feeling around with how it looks, you can decide what areas in that shadow you want the viewer to be able to see. And there's all kinds of different methods you can, or different things you can do in the shadows, and deciding on what's going to show and what's not. It's very up to the artist, I guess you can say. And kind of like, what feeling are you trying to portray, or more mysterious, more lost edges? It's a lot of fun trying to decide what kind of look you want the drawing to have. And it's a lot of experimentation too. It's really cool playing with the edges like that. But I'll leave that for now, and I'll just keep doing our lay-in. And then at the end of this stream, I'll as I'm filling in the values, I'll turn the chat on and catch up with you guys. Let me just fly through this lay-in real quick here. On a Saturday, it's Saturday afternoon for me. Took the little dog out for out to the park with some other friends, and they all have puppies and stuff. And other people come with their little doggies. And our dog finally, he's 7 months old, and he finally started to play with other dogs really well. So it took him a little while, but he's finally playing. So that usually he gets kind of freaked out and he just watches, maybe walks around a little bit, but then runs away when another dog wants to play. But today he was initiating it, and you could tell he was having fun. So that's cool. We didn't want an anti-social dog, so we were trying real hard to get him, train him up and stuff. Let's see. So he's doing good. Let's see. Let's come over here. I'll work on this eye a little bit. So we got these forms. And my allergies have been going crazy too. Let's see. Let me pull some of that value out. I'm trying to show this eye wrapping, the eyelid wrapping around the ball of the eye. And my eyes are so old, I can't see very well. Let's see. I'm enjoying this pencil, guys, the Marie's. Thank you again for you guys telling me about it. It's definitely a good buy. So cheap compared to the other ones too. I think it was like less than $1 per pencil versus like $3, $4, almost $5 for the other ones. I should probably buy a bunch of these in bulk before they disappear. Keep talking about them, and everything's getting difficult to get to. Like especially workout equipment, or like I was trying to order some knee pads and elbow pads. I couldn't find any elbow pad or knee pads available. They're all on like a wait list. And the elbow pads, the ones that I got came in, they were a little bit too small. Because they were like medium to, I think they were mediums. And the large were not available, so I just rolled the dice on them. So I need to get these pencils probably before they go bye-bye. So this shelf kind of feeds into that little crease, and then goes and gets sucked into the hollowing of the cheek right there. That's really cool. Let's come up to the side plane of the head. So just instead of just having like that basic rhythm that we did before, you can kind of look for more of the structure of the skull. So you can look for you see the frontal bone right here, and when it comes down and it kind of attaches to the zygomatic, it's called the zygomatic process of the frontal bone, and it has like this little bump that you often see. You can see it really well right here. I wish my skull is over there, but you can pretty much see it. It's kind of bumps right here, and then it comes up and over for that side plane of the head. So much of the skull comes through on the forehead and really it pretty much dictates the landscape of the face overall anyway, right? So I heard somebody call it the great dictator of the facial form. I think that was Rick Casali on one of his videos. He's a really good sculptor. It's one of my favorite. And he talks about that. It's really interesting. It's like you really need to know the skull if you're going to do heavy portrait drawing. And you really want to get to know the portrait, you gotta learn the skull. And it's really fascinating anyway, learning about all the anatomy and stuff. It's kind of addicting after a while. At first it was like, for me it was like a tedious thing, like, I don't want to learn the arm muscles or whatever it was. But once you start, it was the ear. That's the one that really, I didn't want to draw the ear. I didn't want to learn the anatomy names and stuff. And it really helps to learn the names, and especially learning where the names come from, because it usually comes from Latin or Greek, and it has like really interesting, like almost like a history behind it. Like you won't forget, like the tragus, this part of the ear, that flap, and then you have the antitragus. Anti just means like the opposite, right? So you have these two sides. This one's the opposite of this one, so it's called antitragus. But tragus comes from Greek, and it means goat beard. And it's funny because it's indicated, it's called that because when we get older, a lot of guys will have like this little patch of hair that grows either out from underneath the tragus or right on the edge of the tragus. So it's like a goat's beard. So it's kind of humorous the way that name, the origin of that word, tragus. So I really like that. So that really helps me with the names of the anatomy too, like learning stuff like that. So oftentimes I'll look up, if I'm studying anatomy, I'll keep like Google open and look up the word origin, because I want to find out what they meant by that word. Like really translate it into something that I can identify with. I'm trying to think of another one that's funny. A lot of the bones in the shoulder too. What is it? Coracoid means like the crow or something like that. Crow's beak. Can't remember. There's all kinds of interesting ones though. Oh, zygomatic. I think zygomatic, like the bone right here. Remember I was talking about how it's 3 points and it kind of locks everything together. I think if I remember right, zygomatic means to yoke together, like bring together. So that's bringing together those three other structures of the head. So that's really interesting. So it's like, oh yeah, of course. That's why, it's like you remember the name now. It's like, oh, zygomatic. It means bringing it together. It's funny, when I had art teachers and they would draw they would draw the figure or whatever, and they would like name off all the anatomy names. And I thought, like, why do you need to name off the anatomy names? I'm not in medical school or pharmacy school, like doing anatomy courses, like, but it's like, and I find myself doing it now too, because it's like remember I was doing the other day, I was doing the blind contour drawing of the full figure, and I couldn't stop it. My brain just kept naming the parts I was on, and it was really funny. And it wasn't like trying to show off or anything. It was almost just like my brain wanted to like make sure I knew it, and it was kind of funny. I was like catching myself, and I used to like wonder why we had to learn all the anatomy names when I was in school, and I wish they had told me, like, because it actually helps you remember things. So like as you're going down like a certain area, you might be, oh, that's the platysma muscle. Platysma means flat, and that's because it's really thin. Then you remember like it being so thin and flat, and you can look for the textures that it's creating. You know where it's attached, and sometimes the names are based on where it's attached to, and so I don't know. I just really like learning all that nerdy stuff. Let's see, where should I go? Let me finish the ear, actually. I'm going to check the bottom placement of the ear in relationship to the mouth using a horizontal line straight across. I'm trying to see. Looks like I need to make it a little bit thicker. I'm going to take a measurement of the entire ear from top to bottom and compare it to the nose. Try that again, and do the comparative measuring of the two features against each other. I can't get my arm to sit still. Oh, too much coffee. All right, so today it took me, how long did it take? It took me 20 minutes to get the cameras to sync. I don't know, I have an old camera, this one right here that's pointed at me, that one's probably 8 years old, maybe 10. And then this one's only like a year old, so I'm betting it's something with the older camera maybe. I don't know. And then I was shooting a video, and then I tried to, with this camera up here, and I was trying to load it onto the computer, download it, and it wouldn't read. It was saying there's an error with the camera, blah, blah, blah. Then I figured out it was actually the UBS cord. Yeah, so I don't know, maybe it's the cord is not up to par with all that data transfer too. So I don't know. Like I said, I need to get somebody in here that knows how to do this stuff and just set it up for me once and for all. All right, so you can see here, you have the line indicating the actual edge of the earlobe, but then there's this nice soft form shadow, and then a little bit of a softer shadow on the very edge of the ear. And there's a lot of reflective light coming from this area and bouncing right up on that edge. So you can actually kind of pick that out, make that glow a little bit. Make this cast shadow a lot darker, and it will help pop that earlobe forward into space, into the foreground, I should say. If you lighten up that shadow on the ear and put that occlusion shadow in the cast shadow right underneath it, so it creates this hierarchy of the values and tells the viewer what's in front of the other thing and what's popping forward. Let's see, let's go back to the form of the ear. I've been looking for sculpting tools, some used ones on eBay, and there was like a estate sale, and it was a whole set of sculpting tools. It was insane, and I was like, it was $48. I was really excited, and I know I was watching it, and I didn't want to bid on it, and I bid on it maybe like the last 2 minutes, And then of course a bunch of people were watching it and did the same thing, and they beat me. But but I was so bummed out. I was like all ready for it, having all these sculpting tools, and I was gonna start getting the clay out from over there. I haven't used it in a long time, and I wanted to get back into sculpting, and maybe do like a fun sculpting live stream. It's been a while. I really want to get back into it. Someday I'd like to do like a full figure sculpting class. That would be really cool if I can swing that someday. Maybe with a Rick Casali class or something like that. That would be amazing. Such a good teacher. He has really good YouTube videos. You guys should check him out. I think he has a Patreon as well. But he explains things really well, especially the proportions of the figure. So I'm just mapping in the shadow shapes, but it's following the very basic form. You have the helix here, then on the inside you have the anti-helix, and then of course we talked about the tragus. So I can fill those in. I guess I can do that now. I'll jump ahead a little bit. It's a Saturday. I can get away with stuff on Saturday. 4th of July, I think it's on Monday. I don't know if I'll stream on Monday. I gotta do some errands in the morning, but I might try in the afternoon, but I just can't guarantee it. But for sure on Tuesday, 11:30 a.m. my time, or normal time. If I have a normal time. I don't know if I actually have a normal time, but for sure on Tuesday, but we'll see. We'll see about Monday. Okay, I guess I should finish up the mapping before I go into the shading. I'm getting ahead of myself, but it's so much fun. Let's see. So we got these wrinkles, and I'm going to kind of curl that cast shadow a little bit as it falls into the crease of the shadow. Maybe down here as well. And let me check the placement of this brooch. I guess it's a brooch. Let's see. I guess it's pretty good. Taking a vertical line, kind of mapping it. See how close I am to the ear. So I think I changed the position of the ear a little bit too, didn't I? I heard that they would take these sculptures with the Roman emperors and stuff. Like the figure part would stay the same no matter if the emperor changed. Like if like one died and another one took his place, they would just remove the head and do a sculpture of the new emperor and place it on the body, on the figure. I don't know if that's true or not, but I think I heard that in class one day. That sounds kind of cool though. It's like the same body but a different head. It's really economical. I like that. Instead of like having to make a whole entire new figure, just remove the head and replace it. And also I heard that they would paint that. Like they didn't keep these as like white marble. They would actually paint them. I don't know if they did it on occasion or just all the time. So I don't know the details about that either. It's like I have all these like half-baked details. Like I don't really. That's what I think. That's what's happening now with getting all your information online. It's like you don't know everything quite for sure. You're just like, well, I think I heard this. I don't know where. That's probably from TikTok, Instagram maybe. I don't know. A lot of times it comes for me. It came from like drawing in school, and people would talk like in the peripheral, and it would talk like art history or something, and I think some things would just fall into my brain. I don't know where they came from. That's probably what happened. Game of Thrones. Lots of Game of Thrones talk back in the day. I haven't even seen the show. Can you believe it? I've been kind of like avoiding it because I already like have so many distractions, and I don't need another thing to take up my time. And figure maybe someday I'll get really sick or something, and then I'll have like an ability, if I need to like to binge watch something for forever, for like a week or something, I can just watch. I'll have Game of Thrones to help me out. I'm kind of embarrassed to say that. It's too, like, I don't know how many times that's happened. Like people like bring up a reference to Game of Thrones, and I don't know what they're talking about, and then they find out they haven't seen it, and they get like what? Kind of upset. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm saving it. They're all, what's wrong with you? I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with me. I got too many hobbies. Side plane of the head, and there's all kinds of cool stuff going on here. Like little plane changes, little forms. We can just go through these for days. So let's just try to get the overall. This will all be side plane. Then you have the front side over here. And I think I'll just go ahead and go into the shading of this. Just kind of blast in a single value and doing the background into the foreground kind of a thing. And going from left to right, maybe this way, and just have fun with the, it's kind of like filling in a coloring book almost, but we're just doing value. Thinking about the edges. Let me pump this up a little bit. Let me hit this. Again, with the cast shadow, I want it really crisp, right up in the corner, right here underneath that nostril. And then as I move away and cascade down the face, I can let it kind of soften up a little bit. He's got this big bottom lip sticking out. Got to pump up these values a little bit. Yeah, so let's do that. Let me check the chat, see you guys. Say hi to you guys at least. Oh, good night. Thanks for coming in. BJ Yacht Gaming. What's up? Saman, good to see you. You haven't seen it either? Good, I don't feel alone. What's up, Cookie Monster? And Frosser, what's up? Yeah, the eyeball position. I use like the rhythms of the face. I try to look for a position in relationship to the ear. Basically anything I can. I take angles. One thing we can do, which if I do it now, let me see, a vertical line from the nostril straight up. And it looks like I need to. So you can take a line from the inside corner of the eye, using the edge of your pencil, setting that right on the inside corner, and then on the nostril you place right on the edge of the pencil as well. And you find that angle, and it's pretty close to being straight up and down, maybe a slight angle to it, and you can come in and check that way. And when I do that, it makes me want to move my nostril over just a little bit. So a lot of times I'll use this it's called the tear trough groove, because the tear, when you cry, it'll run down into this groove and then down into this mid-cheek furrow line. And you can use that in placement, and then also a angle from the outside of the nostril to the inside corner of the eye. And then also you can relate it to a horizontal line. I keep saying the wrong thing. A horizontal line going straight across from the corner of the eye, and then seeing where it crosses through the ear. And I can see that I need to bring my ear down just a touch. So it really helps you line things up, looking for different reference points. So let's bring this ear. This Marie's pencil is pretty good. The only thing I don't, if I had to have some sort of like a negative about it, it would be the ability to erase it is slightly more difficult, but totally worth it because of the price and everything else about it. It's so smooth and it blends really well. Let's see. But I do notice I need to go a little lighter in my initial lay-in so I can erase things easier. Let's see. I keep talking about I'm going to go into the value stage, and I keep working on my lay-in. It's typical, right? Man, some days it's like better concentration than others. It's really strange. Actually, some weeks are better than others. This is a good area that catches light. It's like called a light catch area. There's another one, or a catch light area. Here's another one right in the corner. This little triangle. There's one up here. You might have one like right in the corner of the eye, or over here, down in the corner of the mouth. It'd be usually this little triangle, this little pocket that catches light. Maybe not so much of a highlight, but definitely a little bit lighter value. I'm going to put the highlight somewhere over here when I get into the value, if I can make myself stop. Part of it's like a fear thing, because once you go into value, it's really hard to make your corrections. All right, let's go ahead and go into value. So I'm using the side of the pencil. People ask me about this all the time, like, what the heck are you doing? And I'm just using the side of the pencil and pulling down, lifting up and rotating the pencil. So I'm pulling down, then I'll pick up and I'll rotate it just really slightly in my hand so I can get a new spot. And you can see how it's not really even right now, but the more I do it, it's gonna basically sharpen the pencil and make it a little bit more even. So starting out here in the peripheral is beneficial, because by the time you get into the shadow areas of the face, you'll have a really sharp pencil, and you can do a lot more finer control with it than if it's like a dull tip or something like that. So I really like how that just kind of works together, like sharpening the pencil, and at the same time you're filling in all this value. I finally broke out my paints day before yesterday, and I'm making myself do a kind of warm-up sketch painting every day to get back into it, because I kind of let that drop off when I was making this and that, and then different projects, and then I had to move from California to Texas, and just all kinds of things got kind of pushed it on the back burner. So trying to get my skill level back, looking at my old class notes on portrait painting, it's been really fun. So I'm excited about that. And I was actually set it up too. I set it up over here, and I was playing around with the camera angles, and I can't quite figure out what's the best way to do it just yet. So I'm going to keep working on that, because I want to do like a live stream painting as well. I think that'll be fun. I need a camera on the canvas, and I think I need a separate camera on the palette, so you guys can see what kind of paints I'm using, and when the brush goes into a certain pool of color and dips into another. It's really helpful to know what the painter is doing. So let's just pull all this value. Just blasting it through, going past those lines that we did, and some of those lines are going to disappear. And it's going to look awkward at first, but then you'll come back in and just kind of pump up the ones you want to show, and maybe even kind of use the kneaded eraser to pick out certain lines that you don't want to show. See, then we'll come in after I do the single tonal mask and grab all the shadow shapes, and then we'll go into the face and work on that egg effect, where the top portion of the head will be the brightest, and then as we move down the portrait, the light will become less and less intense, so there'll be a little bit more value in the light side, and it creates a really nice illusion. So you can kind of blend this in a little bit with the finger. And you can actually start doing that process here as you're blending and pulling that value from the dark side, from the shading, and dragging it into the light side. So this area is going to be the brightest, and as we come down, it'll get a little bit lighter. So let's go in and look for the occlusion shadows. Those are the areas where reflective light doesn't really get into all that well, like underneath the nose, in that corner, in that little pocket underneath the nostril, maybe right here, as that shadow kind of curves around the upper lip and cuts into the bottom portion, definitely in the corner. Let's see. And the notch in the ear. And also the edges you want to look for, the cast shadows. I'm going to pump up some of these form shadows, as those got lost as we put in the value. Those edges sort of become too light with this new value system that we just put in. Let's see. So I'm going to scumble. I heard this called scumbling, where you're taking your pencil very lightly and just filling in some light value on the light side. Then we can come in with our kneaded eraser and pick out little areas to show that plane change, thicken up some of these values in the form shadows to really show that the three-dimensional form is kind of curving around a little bit better. And you can squint down a lot at this point, and it'll really help to see the relationship of the values and kind of control that a little bit better. I don't know if that's like, it looks like it's a sculpted little area. I'm not sure about the anatomy of this. Kind of like a little divot. I'm not really familiar with that form as far as like the skull is concerned. Let's see, I can lose some of these edges a little bit better. Let me put I'm gonna put darker value in the nose so I can build up the highlight on the nose a little bit better. Where's my pen eraser? There it is. Waiting for me. Maybe a little highlight along the bridge of the nose. And I want to show that form of the eyeball too. It's looking kind of flat. I want to kind of make it feel like it's a round ball. A little occlusion shadow right in the corner. Hard cast shadow right over the bottom eyelid wrapping around. Tapping out. If you go too dark, just tap it out with the rubber, with the eraser, and look for variations in the edges too. Whoops, I almost dropped my pencil. And I'm still thinking about the cyborg or something, some character design. I'm not sure if I want to do a cyborg. I kind of. What if I just did like some crazy creature? I don't know. Maybe I've been watching Stranger Things, so maybe I'll do some hideous monster or something. I don't know. It's hard because I want to do everything. I want to do the sculpture. I want to do the painting. I want to do the character design. I want to do the graphic design stuff. But I always come back to the drawing. That's my favorite. I heard that about John Singer Sargent. Sargent, the painter. I heard that he much preferred drawing. I don't know if that's totally correct, but that's what I heard. Makes me feel better anyway. But, you know, he's such a good painter, so he can get away with saying that or feeling that way. Let's see. So I went a little too dark over here. So I'm looking at it, it's catching my eye, so I'm going to squint down and my eye goes right to the ear area, so it tells me it's too punchy, it's too much contrasting, light and dark, and I need to subdue it. I can either make the darker less dark, or I can make the light less light, or do some sort of combination. And that will kind of control better where I want the eye to go to. Let's see. I'll put a lot more occlusion shadows in the eye area to try to drive the view, the viewer right there, right away. give it a little bit more value in the eyeball. And see if I can pull out some highlight, something a little shiny. Maybe it's like because this looks really nice and shiny. I like that. Like maybe it's like a polished marble area. And I like using the pen eraser too, because you create all kinds of cross hatching with the erasing, and it just helps keep a little bit more interesting texture in the drawing versus having everything the same. Where else can I put a little bit of a catch light? Maybe right here. Definitely right here. Here. A little bit up here. So yeah, have fun with these old stones. These sculptures are so beautiful, and there's so many of them to choose from. Go on, like you can either go visit a museum or you can go on their websites, and usually they have photos of their collection, high res, free, and you can just draw from those. I didn't do much detail like in the wrinkles of the forehead. I'll probably work on that later, off camera. That'd be a lot of fun. All kinds of little details and stuff. But overall, you want to start off with like the big forms and thinking about the planes of the big planes of the head, and then you can go into the little tiny and smaller little planes with the wrinkles and things like that. You got like this nice kind of center line wrinkle of his. The other view of this is so intricate, like the one that's almost like a facing view of this sculpture. It's really, really complicated with the wrinkles, and that's going to be a lot of fun. But we'll just take our time on it and stuff like that. Let's see. Let me put some, before I dig out, let me show that wrinkle overlapping there's like this little ledge I want to get. This comes down and then tucks in, and then the bone comes out and then down. Then the far side brow comes down. Then we can do some darker shadowing to push that in the background. I'm going to make the background a little bit darker too. So I'm trying to connect this cascading shadow from the nose that's falling down the face, and then just have it just blur right into the background, connects, and then you see like this little highlight in the back, not highlight, but this far side piece of the face, the cheek, that kind of shines through just a touch. And you can decide if you want to leave it there or sink it into the background. If I squint down, it kind of drops down a little bit, so I think that's good. If I squinted down and it was catching my attention, then I would know it's too bright. Let's see, let's give a little bit more form to the column of the mouth as it comes up and under. All right, so the still got the course is on sale still, and thank you guys for who purchased one of the courses. Really appreciate it. It's doing really well, and I'm really happy about that, of course. all that time and energy put into something, you hope that it is beneficial to people, and it looks like people are buying it and I really appreciate it. Just thank you guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's actually saving my butt right now. That's why I'm looking for a job here in Texas. Specifically, I'm looking for a pharmacy job, and there's a couple, actually 3 that I'm under consideration for. So I'm kind of like in between, like waiting on the next interview processes for those, and just sort of, I'm in the waiting process, which is always fun. It's funny, the other day I was like, dude, it's been like weeks, like what's going on? And that's what it felt like. And then I looked on my email, and I was like, oh, it's only been 4 days. Like, it's like, I don't know, I was just so impatient. I thought it was much longer, but so we'll see. And I'm kind of torn too, because the other part of me is like, well, you should keep doing this, and then the other part of me is like, well, the economy is so bad right now, you need to save money. And then I don't know, so I'm kind of torn between the two. I was transitioning from one career to the other, right? And then all this stuff happened from last year, and having to leave California and move to Texas and blah blah, and some other family stuff, and had kind of like, anyway, so money became less. Took a lot of money, and so having the course, I was already working on the course last year, and got derailed because of some of the things that happened with a sick family. And then after that got resolved, I came back and was able to get the course done, and thank goodness, because that helped a lot. The extra income turned into the main income, and so I've been surviving on that. So that's why I really appreciate you guys, like, very, very much. And I'm glad I'm able to do this. And I hope I can keep my stream up, keep it from falling apart, keep me from falling apart, and keep coming out with more stuff. Working on figure. I'm not sure if I want to do videos on the figure drawing, or if I just want to do like a book, like a basic fundamentals of figure drawing book. I'm not sure. I'm still playing with that idea. Basically, I'm trying to come up with a coherent process of learning the figure, basically. I don't know, it's talking about a complex thing to learn, the human body. So I don't want to pound a bunch of anatomy into, like force people to do a bunch of anatomy. So I'm trying to think about the overall basic fundamentals, like the forms of the body, basically, and try to come to some sort of easy to understand process, and just thinking about the language a lot. So how am I going to present it? So maybe I'll start doing that on the live stream to kind of help me process through all that and see what works and what not. So I'll experiment experiment on the live stream and see what works as far as like teaching that stuff. And also, it's funny, like when you're teaching something, you start to learn, it makes you better at it. Like to teach it, you got to learn it. So it's kind of funny. It really increases your own knowledge when you're trying to teach something. So anyway, that's a lot of stuff. That's what's going on. That's what's happening. Might be doing a painting soon. Who knows? We'll see. So, all right, there we go. That's our basic drawing from stones. You can see there's little hot spots down here. I can just push those down with the rubber, or bring this value, kind of push that neck down a little bit. I'm looking at the computer screen over here because it shows me, it's on OBS, and it shows me this on a small size, and I can see the hot spots a lot easier. It's kind of funny. So you can either squint down and look at it like this, or you can like look at a smaller version of it, either on your phone or, in my case, on the computer up here. It's kind of cool that way. I was also thinking about maybe taking a teaching job too. I think I talked about that. So I don't know where, I'm just like in this weird limbo area in my life, and the only thing that's consistent pretty much is jiu-jitsu, boxing training at 10th Planet here in Austin, and live streams. That's pretty much my and drawing and all that. That's pretty much what's keeping me sane. So I'm not I don't know. I'm just hoping for more of a pattern. I need a nice everyday kind of like I know what's happening kind of thing. Too many unknowns and I get in my head a lot. So I want to figure it out and know what I'm doing. What am I doing? All right, cool. Let's see. Let me come over here. And I think I'll just, maybe I will turn the chat on. I don't know. You're looking at, oh yeah, Saman, looking on the phone. Nice. I should draw more things besides people, actually. See if I can draw a car. I was actually thinking about that. Like, I wonder if I could draw a car. I haven't drawn a car since I was like probably a kid or something. It sounds really hard. Like, what if I just took like a photo of a car and just try to draw it like the same kind of technique here with like using like rhythms. Of course I won't be using the Reilly rhythms, but maybe I'll use the Volkswagen rhythm or the Tesla rhythm or something. I don't know. Look for rhythms in the car. Like somebody designed it, right? So it's all designed out. That'd be kind of fun. Or torturous. Either way. Either way, it'll be entertaining. So maybe I'll do that. So how do you, I don't know. How would I even pick a reference to draw? Bright sunlight? I don't know. How do you do that? Then I have to do like the chrome. Man, there's a lot to think about right there. That would be a change of pace though, which would be really good. Kirk Warren, what's up? Let's see. Saman, good to see you. Chris Trappineers, what's up? It's good to see you guys. AP, Fong's in the house. Thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate it. I'm going to work on this guy a little bit more this afternoon and maybe post a reference to it in the description if you guys want to check out the finished product and all that. So I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming out on a Saturday. I know I don't have like a set schedule. I'm just always all over the place. And but I appreciate you guys coming by anyway and hanging out. And I keep seeing the same names, and I really appreciate that. I think about you guys and what I'm going to draw, and I don't know. It's really fun. I really appreciate it. Have a good one, everybody. I'll see you next time. Probably for sure Tuesday, maybe Monday. I'm not quite positive yet, but for sure Tuesday. So I'll see you guys. Bye.